Here's the time to act. When the idea is hot and the emotion is strong. That's the time to act. You say, Mr. Ron, I'd like to have a library like yours. See, if you feel strong about that, what you got to do is get the first book and then get the second book. Before the feeling passes and before the idea gets dim, action pronto, action immediate, action as soon as possible. Because if you don't, here's what happens. We call it the law of diminishing intent. We intend to when the idea strikes us. We intend to when the emotion is high. But now if you don't translate that into action fairly soon, now the intent starts to diminish. And a month from now it's cold. A year from now, can't be found. There are some things that matter more than others, but there isn't anything that doesn't matter. Okay. We all pity the man who says, well, this is the only place I let down. Not true. Key to take home. Every letdown affects the rest of your performance. Every letdown affects the rest. This is part of the educational process on personal development. If you don't take the walk around the block, you probably won't do the apple a day. If you don't do the apple a day, you probably won't start building your library. If you don't build your library, you probably won't keep a journal, and you won't take pictures, and then you won't do this, you won't do wise things with your money, won't do wise things with your time, won't do wise things with your possibilities and relationships, and the first thing you know, 6 years of that accumulated, and we say you have messed up.
Welcome to the Joe Cozzo Radio Show!
Here we go, December 17th, 2024, getting closer to Christmas. Can't believe that it's here. Another year just going by. It's ridiculous. And, I look back, I'm already here in West Palm Beach for 15 months. I was living in New York my whole entire life. Thought I would never get out, ever. And thought I was stuck. And then when I even came here and did the move, I was lost. I was in a dark place and I just could not figure out what was going on. Why was it that I was not getting ahead? Why was it that I was still, feeling like a failure in certain aspects of my life? And I started reading different books, different things to start getting me. But the one book that I truly believe helped me more than any other book is The 48 Laws of Power. And to me, that book, and it's by Robert Greene, changed everything in my life. It made me look at things in a different way. It made me look at life as one big game. And that's really what it is, right? It's just one big game. And it doesn't say that in the book, but that's the interpretation that I got. And the people that master the game of life are the successful people. The Bill Gates, the Elon Musks, the Steve Jobs, right? They master life. And the people that don't suffer. The people that don't are depressed. They feel like they're not getting ahead. And there's ways, you have to remember, we're all human and we all have the exact same thing. 24 hours in a day, but it's what you do in that day. And in those 24 hours will determine whether or not you are mastering the game of life. And there's different skill sets that you have to do. And once I started realizing this, and once I started reading the book, I started saying to myself, oh, I get it. I understand here. Life is about wearing masks, I feel. And you're like, well, what do you mean by that? Well, for me, I always wanted to try, every day I was trying to be genuine, trying not to be someone I'm not. And in different circumstances, I always wanted to try to be, or different settings, be the same exact person that I thought I was. But that's not necessarily true. We all wear masks in life. And you learn that in the book. And one of the things here I'll read to you, and this is what Robert Greene, he often discusses, he says, the concept of wearing masks in life. He believes that social interactions and success require us to hide our true selves at times, presenting carefully constructed personas and align with others' expectations of our goals. And I started really looking into that and what that means. And I started figuring out really what it is. Every time we're in a different social setting, we're acting. We're putting on a different mask. We're never the same person in different settings. And here, and then I started digging even deeper into different things of my life. And when I was trying to become an actor, and I went to a conservatory for 2 years to a famous and one of the best acting schools in New York City called the Esper Studio. And my teacher, Bill Esper, he defined acting as this. This is what he said. Acting is living truthfully in imaginary circumstances. Again, acting is living truthfully in imaginary circumstances. So now think about that. Isn't that exactly what we're doing in life when we're wearing masks in different occasions, right? And I want to take you through different examples here and what I mean by that. And what I mean by different things, how each time individually we wear a different mask. Let's just say you are a manager, right? Or some director at a company, and you have to give a presentation today to all of the senior staff. And a lot of times when you have that kind of task that's ahead of you, you have anxiety, you have insecurities. Can I talk in front of all these people? I have to give a presentation. So what do? You have to mask. You have to put on a different mask. A person that is secure. Someone that is extremely confident so that you can project that confidence to the staff. Because what happens if you're in that scenario and you're showing everybody how weak you are? Or you're in that scenario and you start stuttering or you start perspiring and you can't get words out. What kind of leadership are you showing to those people? You're not. So what do? You have to wear that mask of confidence, even if you are not a confident person. And today, you have to be. You have to put that mask on. And that's not the person that regularly walks around their house naked and with their shorts on and sweatpants. They're not a confident person. They might be an introvert. Who knows who you are? But on that day, you have to embrace the mask of a confident person. And what does that take? That takes practice. You have to prepare, right? You have to do the work. You have a presentation. You have to make sure that you know all the topics like an expert. You have to make sure that you know there's certain points, there's some highs and lows that you're going to have to do. You don't want to put too many people down. You want to uplift them, right? And that's just that one social setting. How about the social setting of going out on a date? That's the mask of charm. Right? Now you're out on a date. You're not the same exact person that you were just when you were giving that presentation. Now you're trying to seduce, right? Now you're trying to show this person that you like going out, that you like having a great time, that you like traveling, and you may not even go anywhere. You haven't traveled in 3 or 4 years, but now all of a sudden, you want to start traveling. Now, all of a sudden, even though you haven't gone out in 3 weeks, you don't go out at night. You might not even gone out in 6 months, but now you find this new beautiful woman or this hot guy. And now you have to wear the mask, right? Of someone that's an extrovert, that's someone that likes to entertain, that maybe even likes getting a drink. Oh, do you want to go out and get drinks? She asks. And you don't really drink. What are you going to say? Nah. I don't really want to go out. No. You're going out and you're getting a drink. And what are you drinking? And this is a new mask that you're wearing. You're drinking whiskey, right? Or you're just having an apple cider. What are you portraying to this person? And that's a whole new you. And you have to embrace that, right? And then also, what else comes with going out on that date? Confidence. You might not be a confident person. You might not look at the person in the eye when you're talking, but you better. You have to learn how to do that. That might be uncomfortable for you. But in life, like I said in the beginning, it's a game. And people that master the game succeed. And people that don't suffer. You have to make a decision in life. Who are you? Are you someone that suffers? Are you someone that doesn't put in the work? Right? Just, for example, what are you doing with your vocabulary? Do you speak with an accent? Do you say, hey, do you want to go to the store today? And buy something? Do you want to, forget it. Forget about that. However you want to do it. Or do you make sure that you don't? And you have a generalized accent. Like for me, I'm from New York. And every time when I originally was speaking, everybody would know exactly, oh, you're from New York, huh? You're going to go to the car and buy, go to the store and buy something, right? And they would make fun. And you sit there and you say, oh, well, that's who you are, Joe. Well, maybe that's not who I want to be perceived as. Maybe I feel like that doesn't make me feel as confident, or it puts me in a box, right? There's a reason why when you hear people talking, and not hear, when you hear people talking on the radio or on TV, you can't tell where they're from. There's a reason for that. They're not generalized. They're to everyone. So what do? I work at my speech. Every morning when I wake up, I have this sheet that I go through things together, weather, instead of together, weather, right? You have to work at that, but that's a mask. Because regularly when I just would talk, I would just talk because that's where I was from. I was from New York. But you have to work at that skill. And all of these little skills that combine into mastering the game of life. And these are just little things, right? Again, desire. When you're out on that date, when you're meeting new people, you want people to desire you. You want to seduce people. That's a whole different aspect of the game of life, right? When you first start dating someone, do I call them? Do I not call them? All these little things mean something, and that's a mask that you're wearing. Oh, I'm not going to call them. But meanwhile, you really do want to call them. That's the type of person you are. You call, you'll do whatever, but that may not work. So now you have to learn the art of seduction. And again, the reason why I'm saying these things is embrace these different aspects of your life. Don't shy away from them. One of the things that I've learned, that I am a narcissist in many ways. I do have dark things, but I use it to my advantage. You have to first realize what you are and what you're doing, and then use it. Can't shy away from these things. You can't shy away. We are all human. We all have narcissistic ways and traits about us. Does that mean that now I want to project that on in evil ways, or do I try to see if I can hone that into something that could actually benefit me? Take example for now, the mask, of self-improvement. You do this, even you wear the mask when you're by yourself. And you're like, how can you wear a mask by yourself? Didn't you just say earlier, Joe, that when you're by yourself, that's who you truly are? And a lot of times that is. But how many times when you were by yourself and you start talking to yourself, you're like, all right, that's it. Today is the day I start my diet. I am not going to eat any carbs, no more carbs. I'm going to start intermittent fasting, right? That's a mask. That's not who you really are. It's not who I really am. You know who I really am? Get the bowl of Fruity Pebbles out. I'll eat 2 bowls of that, get some peanut butter and jellies, and let's cook up some grilled cheeses, and let's get that going, because I'll eat that all day. You got a loaf of bread that's out? I won't even toast it. I'm so, ridiculous. I'll just eat pieces of bread right out of the bag. But you can't be like that because you have to be healthy. That's not the game. You're not winning at life. Eating bad, having all those carbs, getting fat. I'm not trying to fat shame people, but fat people, if you're heavily overweight, you're not winning at life. You're not winning the game. You're trying to almost cut your life short. How's that winning? So what do? Every day you have to practice and you have to hone the skills of, okay, day 1, I didn't eat anything bad. Today I stopped eating at 4 o'clock and I'm fasting until tomorrow morning. And then one day you start conditioning yourself and you start getting into a routine, and it turns into the second day. And then the second day then gets compounded into the third day. And you could do this Even the opposite. How many times you do bad things? One bad thing turns into another bad thing, and now it's a routine, a habit. You have to start working at good habits. But that's not who you are, right? Who you are is just maybe that lazy person that likes to just sit on the couch, eat potato chips, get Uber Eats, don't want to eat healthy because now you have to cook. Not only that, you have to steam the broccoli. Not only that, you have to cut up the garlic. That's work. But that's honing your skills. But that's a mask that we all wear. And eventually, you have to start doing it, that it becomes a habit. And you have to then embrace that person. And that's what I mean by that. And even the mask at work, so to speak, right? How many times you go to work and you have this, employee that you work with, this coworker that's constantly bothering you, constantly making fun of you in front of other people, or constantly putting you down, or constantly, just saying things that are embarrassing to you in front of your coworkers. But you know better, right? You know not to say anything. You wear the mask of being humble. You wear the mask of not talking, not brashing out. But what are you doing, right? You're playing the game. You're playing the long game. Because as that person is doing those things to you, you're plotting, you're scheming, because eventually you're going to get back at that person. Remember, it's all a chess game. Life is like a game of chess. And everybody has the exact same amount of players, same pieces on the chessboard. And each individual, the pawn, has its role, right? That's like you being healthy. The bishop, that's you at work. Could be all different things. They're all used differently across the board. How do you do it? You have to master. Are you great with your bishop? Are you great with your rook? Can you talk really well? Just even the game of grammar. Think about this. When you're just regularly texting someone, or somebody's texting you and they come across and they're saying you're instead of you are. And you look at that person, you're like, what is this? Who is this person? I can't take this person seriously. Well, think about when you're doing that, right? And you're saying THERE instead of THEIR and using there in a different way. And you notice it right away, like, oh man, I can't believe I did that. And that was before even editing, that you could do that in text messaging. Now, thank God you could edit your texts. But you come across as someone highly unintelligent when you can't use proper grammar. So what do you have to do? You have to practice. And that's what I do. I take classes. I take online things. How do I use this? What do I do with that? Especially now that we have so many things at our fingertips. ChatGPT. Why do I have to use this way of talking or writing in comparison to this? What does this mean in comparison to that? You have to do that. Why? Because you have to get the edge. Just like the opening said with Jim Rohn there, right? The apple a day, you don't eat the apple. Then you're not taking the journal. Then you're not reading the book. Then you probably, if you're not reading the book and you're not writing down your journals and you're not, you're eating unhealthy, then what you're probably also doing is probably spending money unwisely. And if you're spending money unwisely, you probably start having credit card debt. And if you have credit card debt, then what happens? Now you're depressed. Now you feel like you have this monkey on your back, a piano on your back, and you can't go out. You can't do certain things. You can't go on that great date because you have no money and your credit cards are maxed out. You can't even go out on a nice date because you can't even put it on a credit card. You have no cash. Cash. Who has cash these days? Everything is touchless, is cashless, right? But if you're doing the opposite, you have good credit. You have no debt. You're saving 10% of your income. Every time your check comes in, 10% goes into savings. You're debt free. You're doing what I said on the show the other day, is that you're putting everything on a credit card that you're getting cash back. So let's just say you're spending $4,000 a month, which you have $4,000 a month, but you put it on your credit card and you're not spending the $4,000 on stupid things. You're budgeting your money. And at the end of the month, you have that $4,000 saved in your account and bam, you pay off the credit card, but now you're building points and you're building more points and more points, right? That's a game. Now, all of a sudden, you are in the mask of a great financial advisor to yourself. You're a different person now. You're using that type of methods of getting ahead. And next thing you know, you have so many points that when you have $4,000 at the end of the month with a credit card, you can convert those points to $4,000 and not pay a dime. Now you got ahead of the game. And you only can do that. Why? Because of all the other things that you were doing to get to that point. And it's like a domino effect. There's that saying, when's the best day to plant a tree? It was 40 years ago. Because 40 years now later, the tree is huge. It's sky high. It's a beautiful tree. You get to now sit under the tree. You can read books under the tree. When's the second best today? When's the second best day to plant a tree? Today. Right now. Plant a tree. Because if you don't do it tomorrow, it's one more day. And one more day after that, and one more day. Next thing you know, 5 years have gone by, you still haven't planted that tree. Start today. Change your life today. It's really that simple. So many times you sit there and people procrastinate. You put things off. You put one thing off. Next thing you know, it's two things off. Then it's three things. You have to keep sharpening your tools in your toolbox or in your tool belt. There's this story that I listened to the other day. And it's about these two guys that are out. They chop wood, for their job, their occupation, right? And they're chopping wood. And they chop together and they work the exact same amount of hours, right? You have this one guy, he's chopping wood all day long and he takes no breaks. The second guy's chopping the exact same amount of time, but every day at, say, 1 o'clock, he takes an hour break and he goes into the woods with his axe. Nobody knows what he's doing. But at the end of the day, the second guy that goes into the woods is always chopping more wood than the first guy. And the first guy says, what's going on? He says to the second guy, how is it that I take no breaks and I'm chopping and every day for an hour you go into the woods, nobody knows where you're going, and you take a break, but yet at the end of the day, you're chopping way more wood than I am. What is going on? What are you doing? And that second guy who goes out to the woods every day for an hour, he looks at the guy, he says, when I go out and I take that break, I'm sharpening my axe. And it makes all the sense in the world, right? He's out there, he's honing his craft. He's being great. He knows that tool is his livelihood. And he comes back and now he's chopping, and it's so much easier. And he's banging out wood, banging out lumber. While this other guy's got this dull axe that's chopping every day, but he doesn't take time to sit there and actually hone the craft, actually nurture that axe. He knows that axe is his whole livelihood, but he neglects the axe. What are you doing in your life that you're neglecting? What are you doing every day? Are you neglecting your health? And is that why you're depressed? Are you neglecting your finances? Oh, I'll start saving this month. This be the month that I'll do it. Next week, I'm going to start. I promise tonight's going to be the night that I'm going to start, going on. I'm going to download Quicken books, and I'm going to start budgeting my money. No, you're not. The people that get nothing done are the people that procrastinate and put things off. And then what you try to do, and then what you find yourself doing is what, right? You find little things to do to keep yourself busy and avoid the things that you know that need to get done to improve yourself. Like sharpening your axe. You don't sharpen your axe. You know what you do instead? Instead of fixing your grammar, instead of going on and taking a real estate course because you want to be a real estate broker and you're actually now going to get your license, you pull out the vacuum and you start vacuuming your house. That takes a half hour. Oh, I had to do it. There's dog hair everywhere. I had to do it. It's a mess. Next thing you know, you're cleaning the tub. Cleaning the tub for what? What is that going to do? You clean the tub later on. Get to the online courses. Do it. Figure it out. You want to be a stockbroker? Learn to take the Series 7. You want to start investing in crypto? Take an online course and learn. Start looking at YouTube videos. Learn. That's what I do. I go on podcasts, right? And I see these people, these high-level performers. these doctors, these people that are ahead of the game, that are taking life and they are living it to the fullest. What are they doing? They're mastering the game. They're masters at the game. And I look at these people, especially on Joe Rogan's podcast. He has the best guests. And you can learn so much. I don't just listen to these podcasts. I take notes. They say a book. They reference a book. Oh, yeah, 48 Laws of Power. Oh, what do you mean that got you ahead? That book helped you? Because I need help. Next thing you know, I'm on Amazon. I buy the book. Here it comes. And now I research the book. I take my computer. I take notes. I read the book. Not only do I read the book, I read the notes. But listen to these people on podcasts. I mean, we live in an information age that we like no other. You don't have to go to the library, excuse me, and take out a book. All you need is your phone. There's so many different things. Here, and I'll give you some examples here. There's Dr. Walker. Excuse me, I have this thing in my throat. Dr. Walker is a British neuroscientist and one of the world's leading experts on sleep and its impact on human health. How I found this guy? He was on Joe Rogan. Listen to what he says about how sleep can benefit you and your life. Here, watch.
The shorter your sleep, the shorter your life. Wow. Insufficient sleep is linked to cancer of the bowel, cancer of the prostate, cancer of the breast. So firstly, people who are sleeping just 5 to 6 hours a night will on average eat somewhere between 200 to 300 extra calories each day because of their underslept state. It's a critical factor in the obesogenic epidemic. Sleep is critical for emotional first aid and mental health. You will sleep longer, but you will only get back maybe just 3 or 4 hours of that lost total 8. That's why we get such demonstrable disease, sickness, and impairment when you undergo a lack of sleep.
So I saw that video, and then that made me start realizing, okay, I don't get great sleep. You know, I'm staying up late. I'm on my phone. I'm watching Instagram Reels. I'm in that vortex. Next thing you know, I'm on a group chat. I'm on 8 group chats. People are sending me TikTok videos. And now next thing you know, it's 11 o'clock at night and I still want to get up at 3:45. It's not going to work. I get bad sleep. I got bags under my eyes. I'm grouchy. In the middle of the day, I find myself falling asleep driving my car. And I said, wait a second, that makes a lot of sense. How important is sleep? And then I start doing more research. And then I came across Brian Johnson. And I talked about him on my last show. And I started watching videos of him. He's the guy that's trying to live forever. And you know what he says? Every night, you know what he does? He goes to bed around 9:30, takes a melatonin. I said, melatonin? This guy's taking a melatonin. He says, yes, because it puts him into a deep sleep. It's a natural, pill that he takes. I did some research on melatonin. Nothing. Doesn't harm the body at all. I go on Amazon. I order myself some melatonin. 9 o'clock. Actually, I do it around 8:30. I take one melatonin. Out like a light. My dreams, through the roof. I don't get up. I'm in a deep, deep, deep sleep. I don't get up every single moment of the day. Another thing that I learned from Brian Johnson. Stop drinking liquids at 4 p.m. That's it. No more drinking anything at 4 p.m. Do you want to know why? Because then I'm not getting up in the middle of the night every 2 hours to go to the bathroom. I don't have to go to the bathroom now. I haven't drank since 4 p.m. There's no reason to go to the bathroom. But what I used to do is 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, chocolate milk, coconut water, whatever it is, 9:30, guzzling something out of the, some apple juice out of the fridge, right out of the carton, some orange juice. And now I'm going to sleep and I have all this liquid in my body. And what's going to happen? Every other hour, I'm up going to the bathroom. And what does that do? Disrupts my sleep. How do I get ahead in the game? I do some research. I start following people that are actually doing it and living successful lives. That guy, Dr. Walker, that I said, he's one of the top scientists over in UK. Brian Johnson, the creator of Venmo, sold it for $450 million. Well, you know what? That guy's got to be doing something right. And now he's spending $1 million a year just on supplements. He takes over 100 supplements a day. Look him up, Google him. The guy is phenomenal. He's 50 years old. He looks like he's 38. I mean, you got to see this guy. Is he dyeing his hair? I don't know. Looks like he might be dyeing his hair. I don't know. Could be. But Jesus, this guy is up and he's making videos and he's got his own food that he's now developing. I bought his olive oil, his extra virgin olive oil. I do shots of it a day. Why? Because this guy's done the research. He's done it for us. And he lays it all out on a YouTube video. But the only reason why I was able to see that is because I'm doing the work. You have to do the work. LaDainian Tomlinson one day, one of the Hall of Fame running back, broke records, one of the best running backs ever. He was asked, why do you think that you were so good? How did you become so great at the position? He goes, the key for me at being a great running back is I was watching game film of all the great running backs. The key for me was studying greatness. The people that did it before me. And I studied the move that they made. I studied, and Kobe Bryant did the same thing. If you watch Kobe Bryant's basketball skills and you watch his game and you just took off his head, let's say, and you did a side-by-side comparison to him and Michael Jordan, you would think they're the exact same player. Why? Kobe Bryant studied Michael Jordan's moves and then he implemented them. He studied greatness. And that's what you have to do. Here, Dr. David Sinclair, another person that I watched. I had no idea who this guy was, but I'm watching him on Joe Rogan, an Australian biologist and one of the world's leading researchers in the field of aging and longevity science. This guy's also trying to reverse aging, living forever. I don't know about you. I don't want to get old. I want to be here. And I know I'm going to be, right? We all have it. We're all living. The clock is ticking on all of us. But how am I going to live a life at 50? Am I going to have back pain? Am I going to be able to walk at 60? How about 70, 75? Do I have arthritis? Can I not walk because I wasn't healthy? Am I obese? Do I have diabetes? Do I have heart condition? I want to do everything that I can so when I'm 70, I sit there and I can still live a great life. Think about the conversation that 70-year-old version of yourself would have with you right now today if you didn't exercise, if you were overweight, and because you were doing things that you didn't hone your skills, you weren't wearing certain masks that you have to wear. You have to be these different people to get ahead of life. He has a conversation with yourself today. What is he going to say? Man, I wish we would have done it differently. I wish we didn't sit on the couch watching Netflix all day long. I wish we would have actually studied for the bar exam and maybe became a lawyer even at 50 years old, or became a physical therapist at 50, or a real estate agent at 50. Because right now at 70, we have no retirement. We have no pension, no anything. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I still have to work. I'm doing Uber at 70. My health is no good. Think about the conversation that 70-year-old will have with you today. Think about the conversation you want that 70-year-old to have with you right now, because eventually you're going to be that 70-year-old person, God willing, right? Listen to what David Sinclair, listen to what he says. Two things he says are the most important things to expand your life. Here, listen.
But there are two things you can do to extend your lifespan. And when I say extend lifespan, I don't mean be older for longer. I mean be healthier in your 80s and 90s. So you want that. Okay, so what do you have to do? Well, you have to start early. So you want to just get out of the chair. People say walk, but I think it's better to lose your breath, become hypoxic, run for 10 minutes a few times a week. That's what I do. And you don't have to run for hours. It's just 10 minutes is enough. The other thing is, which I do, is to skip meals. This idea of nutritionists, 3 meals a day plus snacks, never be hungry, is killing us.
And I agree with him 100%. When we were hunter-gatherers, when we were living years ago, we didn't have the luxury of just opening up the refrigerator and having a slew of food available for us. And what we're doing, and it's not even good food that we're eating, right? Think about all the junk, potato chips, the granola bars, the Pop-Tarts, the cereals, all the artificial flavors that are in these foods, and we're eating it constantly. Our body wasn't made to be eating all the time. And we don't reward ourselves. We used to reward ourselves. We used to go out. We used to have to hunt for hours. come back, you have that dopamine fix that you just hunted and you killed this animal. Now you're going to go back. You're going to have to skin it. You have to put it at the fire and you're going to sit all around and you're going to feed your family and think about that feeling that you have. But it's just one meal that you're eating. We didn't hear about all those diseases that people were dying and all of these things. And who knows what was really going on. But I'll tell you what, I know what we're doing right now is no good. Our body's not meant to be eating all the time. And again, this is a guy who has dedicated his life to figuring out that intermittent fasting is the best thing that we could possibly do for our body. Not eating all the time, starving ourselves, going into a keto, right, phase, our body. And what that does for us, these people are doing it. And what are you doing? Are you looking at this? Are you doing the work? Are you reading up? Do you want to be healthy? Do you want to live a long, prosperous life? Well, you have to do the work, right? You have to do the work. Then you have also, right, Huberman in the Huberman podcast. Dr. Andrew Huberman. Here, I'll read it to you. American neuroscientist, professor known for groundbreaking work on the brain, vision, and behavior, as well as his ability to translate complex scientific research into practical advice for everyday life. He has a podcast, right? He talks about everyday life, all his findings. He does the work. He's ahead of the game. The reason why his podcast is so popular, the reason why he has so much money is because he's learning how to master the game of life. And he talks about what things you could do to raise your dopamine fix naturally in your body, right? And listen to what he says. And he also was on Joe Rogan, and this is what he had to say.
What's very clear is that when you're suffering or you're lazy or you're procrastinating, doing something that's harder than the state that you're in bounces you back much faster. This is all based in the dynamics of dopamine. It's sort of crazy. If you know how people are procrastinating to write something and they start cleaning the house, something they normally don't want to do. Well, it's just something that's easier than the thing that you're supposed to do.
Right.
If you do something that's even harder than the thing that you're trying to avoid, all of a sudden you're able to do that. And you're like, oh, okay, well, it's just psychology, right? No, it's not psychology alone. Once dopamine is deployed at that level, you're a different person.
That's why, in my view, going out and trying new things, doing different skill sets, getting a license, like I said, real estate license. I mean, maybe that's for you. Is it for me? No, I have a law license. But maybe that's something different that will expand you. And even if you maybe don't want to practice law, maybe you want to take these courses online just so you could expand your vocabulary and learn about real estate. And maybe instead of selling houses, maybe you just want to buy one house and then use it as an Airbnb. But the more you're learning, the more neural waves that are, more connections in your brain that is going off. Joe Dispenza, if you should Google him, says. And then all of a sudden you become a whole different person. There's different aspects of your brain that is being used that never were used before. And instead of just sitting down and doing absolutely nothing. I mean, I can't stress this enough. We have one shot at life. Just one shot. That's all we got. And you are the director. You are the one who's writing the script. I write the script. Joe Cozzo's life. And it could be a smash hit or it can be a flop. And if it's a flop, it's because of me. No one else. No one controls me. No one tells me what I can and can't do. No one tells me what time I have to get up and what time I have to go to sleep. No one tells me what I have to eat and what I don't have to eat. I'm in control of it all. And if I want to master this life, then I have to accept that I have to wear certain masks, that I have to embrace those certain roles that I have to play. And in those roles, I have to be masterful in each and every one of them. If I'm at a networking event, right, and I'm going to talk to people at this networking event, and I'm trying to get sales. If I want to get people, let's just say I want to interview people on my show. So I'm going to this networking event and I know that this person's going to be there and I want to get that person on my show. And I introduce myself when we start talking and this person starts telling jokes, right? And I don't really personally, I'm listening to the joke. I think the joke, I'm like, what is this guy? This guy's not funny. This is a horrible joke. This guy's not funny at all. Why is he even telling this joke? But what am I going to do? Am I going to tell him that he's not funny? Am I going to tell him that his sense of humor is off? No. I'm going to laugh. I'm going to laugh at his jokes. And you sit there and say, well, you're not being really yourself. I'm not. I'm wearing the mask of seduction. There's a reason why I want this guy on my show. I don't care about this stupid joke. I'm going to laugh. I'm going to appease. I'm going to seduce. Because there's something that I want. And you have to master those skills. And that takes time. And you have to be cognizant. One of the things that you also have to be, you have to have a sober mind, right? How many times you go out, you go to these events, you start drinking. Next thing you know, you start saying stupid things. Not me anymore. I go to these events, I'm not drinking anymore. I'm not doing it. Why? Because I open my mouth and I say stupid things. I make promises that I can't keep. I say things that I shouldn't say. I reveal things that, you know what? You shouldn't. You shouldn't always be telling everyone everything that you're doing. Keep some from yourself. Let people wonder. Let yourself be a mystery to others. That's another mask that you should learn, another skill set, right? How many times we want to tell everybody, oh, I'm doing this, I'm going to be doing that, I'm opening up a business, and you don't do it. You just do it because you want to put yourself out there and look like you're being this hotshot person, but you're not doing it. 1 month goes by, 2 months goes by, and then people are like, I thought he was, I thought he was opening that business. I thought he was opening a juice bar. I guess he's not, huh? I guess he was starting that podcast. He kept saying that he was going to start this podcast. He never has done it. And then what do you look like? You have no credibility. Sometimes. Or how about this? How about you have an idea and you're telling everybody at this networking event, and all of a sudden someone steals your idea and they're doing it. Now what? Shut your mouth. Listen. That's another thing that I definitely learned more than anything. Listen. Less talk, more listen. Forget it. It's such an advantage. All right, I want to switch gears here. I want to get into a little bit of what's going on, and I want to get into what's happening with Donald Trump right now, because there is an aura of Donald Trump, unlike the aura that you saw in, say, 2016. And what we see here in 2024 is a totally different Donald Trump. And you can see that in just the way people are now talking about Donald Trump, wanting to be around Donald Trump. Next thing you know, you hear Tim Cook, CEO of Apple, is sitting down with Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago. Next thing you know, Justin Trudeau is flying in from Canada and he wants to talk to President-elect Donald Trump. And you're starting to see how he is. And he has, because, and in my opinion, the reason why this is so true is because he won the popular vote. And now people across the country, you know, you want to sit there and say, this guy's a whack. I'm not doing that. He's crazy. Or he wants to, deport everyone. And we don't want him to do that. That's not what the country wants. Not so fast. He won the popular vote. A majority of the people want these illegal immigrants gone. Right out the door. Show them the door. See you later. You don't believe me? Here, listen to what he said. He was asked. He's at Mar-a-Lago. He has a press conference and he's asked about whether or not, what happens if these countries like Venezuela, say, won't take all of these illegal criminal migrants that are in here, coming in illegally. Listen to what he has to say. He's unbelievable. He's the best.
In terms of your mass deportation plans, have you had any preliminary discussions with countries like Venezuela, from where the Tren de Aragua gang is now popping up?
They'll take them back.
They're going to take them back?
They're all taking them back, yep. And if they don't, they'll be met very harshly economically. Okay, they'll all take them back. Venezuela and other countries were not behaving very well with us during my administration, and within 24 hours, they were behaving very well. They'll all take them back.
Just that alone right there, hearing him say that, you feel like you have a president again that's actually leading the country, instead of someone saying, well, we're letting everybody in, or not even having press conference. This guy has a press conference every single day, takes any question from any reporter, and it actually, now you start saying to yourself, the United States is back. People are respecting him like no other time before. Again, you had all of the people, all of the leaders. They all thought he was a joke. Who is this guy that's coming out of nowhere, this billionaire that has no idea how to run a country, no idea how to, govern a country? But now here he is. He's wiser. He's older. He's surrounding himself with better people. And then he's asked the question, are you going to have other leaders from around the globe come to your inauguration? Now think about that. If this guy was viewed as such a joke, like he was, say, in 2016, would other leaders want to be here? Everybody wants a piece of Donald Trump now. Everybody wants to get close to him because they know that this guy is a genius. He's a marketing genius. This guy's taken a bullet and brushed it off like it was nothing. Got right back out there and the polls go through the roof. That picture of him, with his fist up fight, is going to be in the history books forever. That man is going to live forever. We read about George Washington forever. You're going to read about Donald Trump forever. George Bush II, you probably won't even know. Our ancestors won't even realize who this guy even was, except he was the president during 9/11. That's about it. Not Donald Trump, not Abraham Lincoln, right? You hear about Jimmy Carter. We don't know really. Who knows about Jimmy Carter? I don't know too much about Jimmy Carter. Do you? But you're going to know about Donald Trump. And listen to when he gets asked this question. Are you getting any, is there any leaders around around the world that want to come to your inauguration? And listen to his response.
The world leaders are calling me, and some really would like to meet. No, I mean, literally, they're calling me, and I'll be seeing some of them. I think it's rude not to. I mean, it's hard to say I'm not going to see you. And I've spoken to way over 100 where they called to congratulate on not only the election, but the size of the election, the extent of the victory. And they were great. I mean, I spoke to over 100 countries.
Every single leader of every nation wants to be there. What I think would really be great is if you have President Xi there, if you have Vladimir Putin there, you have all these people that are so-called enemies coming and kissing the ring. And invite them. I would invite them all. Every single one of them. The president of Mexico, the prime minister of Canada, UK. Every single leader that could possibly be there for this inauguration, let them be there. I'll tell you what won't happen. You're not going to have any bombings. You're not going to have any terrorism with all the world leaders there. That is for sure. That's one way to make sure that nothing bad is going to happen. You would sit there and say, maybe that's an opportunity, but think about that opportunity. You'd have the whole world against that one person or that one terrorist group. And I don't think that's going to happen at all. You're hearing also that some of the Democrats are going to boycott. Why? It just shows you the arrogance of the Democratic Party if they do that. And it's time to just put it all aside. This guy is the leader of this country. This guy won the popular vote. This guy lost the second time, his second presidency. And I believe that he was cheated, but who knows? Whatever. You could have your own opinion. That's fine. It's great. But he won. And he has a mandate. And the people that he's surrounding himself with, I absolutely love. And this is right here, this video that I'm going to play for you right now. This right here explains it all for you about the difference between 2016 Donald Trump and the respect that he has now in 2024. Okay? You have Van Jones, right? The commentator for CNN. He's on with Chris Cozzo. I think that's how you pronounce his name. And they're talking to each other. It looks like a Zoom call. And they're talking. And the question is, how in the world did Donald Trump do this? Right? How? And listen to what Van Jones says about Donald Trump here.
How the hell did Donald Trump figure out the mainstream media is the fringe and the fringe is now the mainstream? How the hell was he, the 78-year-old guy who doesn't even have a computer and still writes handwritten notes, how did he become the guy who cracked the code on, to your point, running a cultural, I don't even want to say campaign, running
it was a movement. How can Donald Trump? Guys, can we cut it out? Donald Trump is not an idiot. Donald Trump, let me just be very clear. Donald Trump is smarter than me, you, and all critics. You know why we know? Because he has the White House, the Senate, the House,
Totally agree.
Court, the popular vote. He has a massive media ecosystem bigger than the mainstream built around him and for him, and a religious fervor in a political movement around him. And his best buddy is the richest person in the history of the world, and the most relevant Kennedy is with him. This dude is a phenomenon. He is the most powerful human on earth and in our lifetime.
The most powerful human being on earth and in our lifetime. I'll go a step further and I'll say he's the most popular person in the history of the world. Not named Jesus Christ. And I stand by that. Think about it. And a lot has to do with it because we are in a technology age of the internet. But everybody knows Donald Trump. He's the most popular person ever not named Jesus Christ. And right there, you have Van Jones, a diehard liberal who, basically is saying, I give up. You have to give this guy credit. You have to give him credit where credit is due. Right? And he's done it all through all of this controversy, indictments, being impeached twice, COVID, all of it, the lies, coming at him, attacking him personally, attacking his family. And now he's king of the world. There's no one more popular and have more power than Donald Trump. And I cannot wait to see how he governs the next 4 years. And the people that he put around him, like RFK, like Pete Hegseth, who I think is going to get confirmed. I love Pete. I love that guy. Tulsi Gabbard, another person that I love. Kash Patel as the director of the FBI. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Release the JFK tapes. Release the Diddy tapes. Release the Epstein tapes. Release all those files. Let's see. Let's be transparent. What happened on January 6th for real? I want to know all of this stuff. We're not babies. We're not children. Stop treating the American public like we're children. We are the people that own this country. We, the people. And we nominate someone like Donald Trump, who then we in turn trust is going to nominate certain people in his cabinet that are going to be representatives of us. And again, that's the mandate. Let's be transparent. Release all of it. We're never going to move ahead until we put it all out there and start anew. And I think Donald Trump has an opportunity to do that. Pardon Snowden. Pardon him. Pardon Assange, Julian Assange. Okay, what did he do that was wrong? He exposed the truth? What did Snowden do, Eric Snowden do that was wrong? Exposed that the NSA and the CIA was doing illegal searches on American citizens? That's wrong. But for him, we would never have known that stuff. That guy is a hero. He's a whistleblower. These whistleblowers, we have to embrace when there's wrongdoings that are going on. No one, like they say, is above the law, including these government agencies who all of a sudden think that they could do certain things because they get this power and they can then just crap all over the American people. And that's why America has had enough and voted in someone like Donald Trump in 2016 and again in 2024. All right, listen, if you get a chance, we got suspended on YouTube for a week. We come back in 2 days. So it's on Rumble. Go to the Joe Cozzo Show on Rumble. All of our shows are on X. So go on X. The full-length shows are on Rumble and X. Also, it's not on the Joe Cozzo Show, each individual video right now, because we're suspended. We talked about vaccines or autoimmune. YouTube's crazy, but it's my fault. But it's also, if you go to YouTube and just Google, if you just do a search on YouTube of Joe Cozzo, the shows will be on there as well. So if you have YouTube and you want to just watch it, it's not on the Joe Cozzo Show, but it's on Joe Cozzo. But make sure you also follow us on X. Like the show, subscribe on Rumble, follow us on X. Also, follow us on Apple Podcasts. If you're just listening to that, it's on Spotify as well. All of it at The Joe Cozzo Show. I'm writing articles every day. So if you go to the X at The Joe Cozzo Show, and I also, I retweet it on X, the platform at Joe Cozzo. I'm starting to write articles every day, so it helps out the show. And there's some things that I like to just, it's easier to write instead of talking about. And, if you could do that as well, helps out the show. And with that being said, what do we got here? December 17th. I can't believe Christmas Eve is a week away. It's unbelievable. All right. With that being said, I'm out. Peace.